What's so great about Shakespeare? You're about to find out. Derek is here to sample some of this playwright's greatest work and show you how people love to play around with his plays.
Hi, I'm Derek with the 4-video introduction to Shakespeare and his plays. In Shakespeare's day, going to see a play was the hottest entertainment around. You might say it was a real hoot because that's exactly what the audience did. Hoot, holler, and howl at the actors. I mean, they really got into it. What movies, games, or TV shows that we watch can get us going like that? Take a look and see what I mean.
A Day at the Globe.
Wow! If you think this is wild, you should have been at one of Shakespeare's plays in London 400 years ago. In 1600, going to the theater had the excitement of concerts and movies all rolled into one. And Shakespeare's theater, the Globe, had the best shows in town. Sometimes more than 2,000 people would cram into this tiny outdoor space for a full, interactive theater experience.
Urchin, do not drink. I will, my lord. The Queen.
At the Globe, the audience was just as entertaining as the actors. There were rich people, even royalty, who paid extra to sit in the gallery under a roof in case of rain. And then there were the groundlings, who paid a penny, which could be a whole week's pay, to stand on the ground by the stage. The groundlings could get pretty rowdy, eating, pushing, yelling at the actors, and sometimes really misbehaving. They smelled pretty bad too, so some people called them the stinkers. But they couldn't compete with the attractions on stage. Shakespeare's plays had kings and queens, witches and ghosts, clowns and gravediggers. There was something for everyone, from romance to murder. The good times kept rolling at the Globe, until it burned down in 1613. But Shakespeare's reputation never faded. So, centuries later in 1997, the Globe was rebuilt in his honor. The new theater is 200 yards from the first one, but they tried to keep the details exactly the same as the original Globe.
On opening day, the theater was packed. The groundlings surrounded the stage just as they did 400 years ago, and the Queen watched from the gallery.
There might even have been a few stinkards in the house.
Think about it. What does it mean to be in love with someone? Like, really in love. Let's face it, love can be sad. And Romeo and Juliet is the saddest love story of all. A real tearjerker. It's so tragic that I could just start crying thinking about it. I'm not crying. Don't look at me. Watch Romeo and Juliet. I've got to pull myself together.
Romeo and Juliet.
In Italy, in the town of Verona, live two families that do not get along. They are the Capulets and the Montagues.
Loser.
Tonight, there's a jumping party at Lord Capulet's house, but these two masked men were not invited. That's Romeo, the son of Lord Montague, and his best friend, Mercutio. Romeo has just spotted Capulet's daughter, Juliet.
I never saw such beauty till this night.
But just as he starts to make his move, Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, steps in.
Stop right there, Montague.
He knows Romeo is a hated Montague who doesn't belong here. And love at first sight almost becomes love at first fight.
Romeo, let's get out of here.
Juliet finds out that Romeo is the son of Lord Montague.
Huh?
And Romeo finds out that he's just fallen in love with the daughter of his father's enemy. But he's determined to see Juliet again, even if she is a Capulet.
She has to be alone sometime.
The next night, Romeo sneaks a peek at Juliet's window and discovers that Juliet loves him too.
Oh, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Yes!
Romeo doesn't need to hear any more. Faster than you can say I do, they are husband and wife. The priest, Friar Lawrence, hopes the marriage will bring the feuding families together. Romeo goes back to town to tell his pal Mercutio the good news. They run into Tybalt, who's still angry.
Romeo, what were you doing at Capulet's party the other night?
But Romeo ignores him.
I asked you a question.
Mercutio steps in.
I'll answer your question, Tybalt.
Mercutio draws his sword and there's a fight. Tybalt stabs Mercutio dead. Romeo loses it.
Tybalt, you villain!
And kills Tybalt. The happy new groom is now a murderer on the run. Things get worse. Juliet's father has arranged for her to marry a creepy rich guy named Paris.
He's no Romeo.
She can't tell her parents she's already married to the guy who killed her cousin. So she goes to Friar Lawrence for help.
Take a drink of this, Juliet. It will put you into a deep sleep, so deep that your parents will think you're dead. I will tell Romeo and he will go to your tomb, and when you wake, he will be by your side.
Juliet takes the potion, but Romeo never gets the message from Friar Lawrence. All he hears is that Juliet is dead. Oh, no!
I will join Juliet in death.
He gets some poison and rushes to her tomb.
Here's to you, my love. With this last kiss, I die.
Where am I?
Juliet wakes up horrified to see her dead husband.
Oh no! Romeo dead? None left for me?
Come, this way.
I need to be quick. Oh, happy death. Let me die.
The tragedy teaches the two families the terrible price of hatred. Like many lessons, it is learned too late. So ends a tale full of woe, that of Juliet and her Romeo.
Next up, a story of jealousy, greed, murder, and backstabbing. No, it's not an episode of Survivor. It's Shakespeare's play, Julius Caesar. It's based on the real Julius Caesar, the great Roman leader who would have been emperor back in 44 BC if his friends hadn't stopped him. Watch this story of Julius Caesar and consider, with friends like these, who needs enemies? How do you know who you can trust?
Julius Caesar.
The people of Rome have gathered to honor Julius Caesar, the commander of Rome's armies. Caesar's conquests have made Rome the most powerful empire on earth. Caesar is so popular that his friend Mark Antony has offered him the crown on behalf of the people. But not everyone loves Caesar. Cassius is jealous of Caesar and is plotting to kill him. Cassius wants Brutus, a noble and well-respected senator, to join his murder plot. Brutus admires Caesar, but he's afraid Caesar will have too much power if he becomes king. As Caesar heads home from the celebration with his wife Calpurnia, a blind man in the crowd warns him.
Beware the Ides of March.
The Ides is the 15th, which is the next day. That night brings a raging storm. Cassius takes it as a sign that Caesar must be stopped. Brutus worries all night about whether to join the murder plot, and Calpurnia has horrible dreams about the blind man's warning. In the morning, she begs Caesar not to go to the Senate that day.
I had a terrible dream.
But the plotters convince Caesar to go.
No, don't go!
When he arrives at the Senate, his enemies surround him. Then all at once, They take turns stabbing him. Caesar is stunned to see the decent Brutus among his murderers.
You too, Brutus?
Angry mobs gather at Caesar's funeral, but Brutus convinces them the murder saved Rome from Caesar's power and ambition.
I loved Caesar, but I love Rome more.
Kill Brutus! Kill Cassius!
Then Caesar's friend Mark Antony speaks.
Friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me your ears. I have come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. If Brutus says that Caesar was ambitious, then that is right, for Brutus is an honorable man.
Then he reads Caesar's will, in which he left all his riches to the people. And he reveals that Caesar refused the crown when it was offered to him. He holds up Caesar's bloody robe, and the crowd turns on the murderers. Mark Antony gathers his forces to fight Brutus and Cassius and their armies. The night before the battle, Cassius and Brutus realize they'll be defeated and vow not to be taken alive. So each chooses to die by his own sword. The same swords that killed Julius Caesar.
Caesar, you are revenged.
Even in death, Julius Caesar has won the battle over his enemies.
Check it out. This is from Shakespeare's play, Hamlet. To be or not to be, that is the question. No, here we go. To be or not to be, that is the question. Nah, here we go. To be or not to be, that is the question. Sorry, I'm practicing my lines for a Shakespearean acting contest. What do you think? Do I have a chance at winning? What inspires people to compete? Check out my competition.
Acting the part.
Shakespeare wrote his plays to be performed, not just read in books. When the words leap out from the page and onto the stage, the result can be fun and prizes? That's right. Each year, thousands of high school students across America participate in the National Shakespeare Competition to see who can really stand and deliver the words of the great playwright.
Hi, are you the contestant today?
There are lovesick Juliets.
Oh, if I wait, shall I not be distraught?
And there are Romeos, too.
'Tis my lady. Oh, 'tis my love. Oh, that she knew she were.
But these kids are putting their own spins on Shakespeare's 400-year-old characters. The only rule is that they have to perform a monologue. That's a speech of 15 to 20 lines.
Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts.
Life is but a walking shadow.
We do pray for mercy.
Like athletes preparing for the big game, the contestants warm up by rehearsing their lines.
Let's center and begin.
But wrapping your tongue around those difficult words is only half the fun. Acting the part and understanding your character wins the day.
Juliet, well, I guess to sum it all up, she would be what people would call a hopeless romantic.
Edmund, he's very devious and sinister.
I love Ophelia, especially when she goes kind of
Performers who win their school competitions move on to regional contests, where the prize is an all-expense-paid trip to New York City for the national finals. Some kids want it bad.
Oh, my fair son!
Really bad.
I. Thus. Now am I dead!
In the end, about 50 kids from all over the country make it to New York. Here, they get a chance to perform at the world-famous Lincoln Center for a shot at the grand prize, a 2-week trip to England to study you-know-who. The pressure before the competition is intense, but for some kids, like Danny Thompson, the trick is tapping into what comes naturally.
Almost everybody reacts the same way on, when they're angry or when they're upset. So when you get that, then you have just about everything, and it's really easy to do.
Alas, sir, in what have I offended you? What cause hath my behavior given to your displeasure, that thus you should proceed to put me off and take your good grace from me?
Finally, our first place winner of this competition, Danny Thompson.
Danny made it look so easy that she's on her way to England. But let's face it, it's not just the winners who leave a lasting impression.
Thus this begins! Adieu! Adieu! Adieu!
Art thou finished with this topic? You sure are. Great job.